A series of proposals from Tory leadership have now been rejected. Is a no-deal scenario the most likely one?
Well, it certainly has an improved possibility, improved, a greater chance. I'm not saying I want a no deal. The deal the Prime Minister had on the table, if you ignore it from a UK point of view, from an Isle of Man point of view, was a good deal. It gave freedom of movement of people, manufactured goods, agriculture and fisheries products, and therefore that was something that is of great concern to us. But the Prime Minister's deal still isn't. It's not dead in the water, so who knows? And everything is still up for grabs. There's no real change. If you analyse it, there's no majority for anything.
Well, I mean, you've said a number of times that you're seeking to be as prepared as possible come what may on the 29th of March. How far do we actually know what repercussions are going to be for the Isle of Man? As you say, it was beneficial, but at the moment, that's been knocked down again. Yeah,
well, I took the decision well over a year ago now that we must prepare for a no-deal scenario. It was the most likely, it was the worst-case scenario, and therefore let's get ready for a no-deal. And if we've wasted our work because they do a deal, well then fine, at least we have the island as well prepared as possible. And that's why we've moved legislation. We've got we brought out a booklet fairly recently that members of the public are most frequently asked questions, so people can go online to the government's website at Government at Brexit and ask the recent the most asked questions. We've also been communicating through Customs and Excise and the Department for Enterprise with businesses to work with them and see if we can help them prepare for a no-deal scenario. So we've been planning for this so it doesn't impact on anything that we've been doing.
And is there a dedicated Brexit team within Manx government working away at this?
Well, we have our external relations team who are absolutely stretched, obviously, on this matter. But yes, they are working hard. But it's not just the department, my department, it's DEFRA, for example, the Department of the Environment, Food and Agriculture. They have the biggest number of acts and issues if the UK leaves the European Union, especially with a no deal, and that's what they've been working on. So there are teams across government from affected departments regularly going to Westminster, getting the latest thinking to ensure that the Isle of Man is as well prepared as is humanly possible, because we can't prepare for everything, but all the avenues that we can possibly prepare for. The UK issued notices of over 100 issues where they could see problems should there be a no-deal scenario, and we've looked at all of those, come up with, we've sort of Manxified it where it's relevant to the Isle of Man and put those answers on the website of the problems to expect. So in a way, it's business as usual.
Well, you mentioned, obviously, people are stretched within government, working hard. Are there domestic issues equally as important overlooked?
No, we've been absolutely committed to ensuring that the normal day-to-day running of the Isle of Man carries on business as usual.
Well, talking about business as usual then, what meaningful dialogue have you had with industry representatives regarding this no-deal potential outcome?
Well, as I say, the Department for Enterprise is now offering a grant to businesses who are looking to take legal advice on their position for Brexit, if Brexit goes ahead. So that's happening a lot. I've given numerous speeches personally to the Chamber of Commerce, and they were well attended, 200-300 people each time there. So we have been communicating well with the business community. But let's not forget that there are all sorts of options still open. I mean, just because the Prime Minister's deal was defeated this time, there's nothing to say by the end of March that suddenly that's resurrected, because everyone's presuming that they may well win the vote in Westminster to extend or repeal Article 50 for a certain period of time. But that's assuming that the European Union will agree to extend Article 50. And if they refuse to, because they're going to say, well, what do you want an extension for? And at the moment there is no majority for anything in the UK Parliament. Therefore, they may well say, we're not prepared to extend it unless you've got a proper proposal. And if there's no proposal, then you go back to the fact that the UK will leave on the 29th of March at 11 o'clock. Therefore, that might refocus people to look at the Prime Minister's vote yet again. So there are many options and possibilities ahead of us in a very short period of time.
Well, within that time, of course, we will endeavour to keep us up to date with you as we possibly can. But whilst I do have you here, it would be remiss of me not to talk about news that we heard yesterday, that the Isle of Man has been taken off an EU grey tax list. Well, first of all, you've tweeted that you're delighted at this removal of the Isle of Man, but what does it mean the Manx government has done to enable this to happen?
Well, I'm delighted because for the last 2 years behind the scenes we've been working on this. We've been removed from Annex 2 of the Economic and Financial Affairs Council, known as ECOFIN. That's a non-cooperative jurisdictions for tax purposes. Now, it follows a long programme of work and proactive engagement that we've had with them. We have amended our legislation in December 2018 to allow for substance of companies that are registered on the Isle of Man, and that has enabled us to ensure that the Isle of Man is taken off this list. We were on it not on our own, I hasten to add. I think there was 25 other countries. We are now off the list. However, there are other countries are still on that list, and I think they listed at least 15 countries who have been blacklisted.
And was it a priority for you to get us off that list?
It was. It would have had significant impact. Had the Isle of Man been blacklisted, for example, then businesses would have been effectively put through treacle trying to do their events, because extra checks and balances would have had to have been done by businesses from outside the Isle of Man wanting to deal with a company that had been blacklisted by the European Union. So this was serious. We've avoided it. We've come out and it's been recognised that we now fully comply with international tax matters and transparency on matters of substance. So I am delighted, but it was serious. But equally, we're dealing with other issues such as money val, beneficial ownership, along with Brexit, tax-free, etc. So there's an awful lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, but these problems can have a significant impact if we allow ourselves to get ourselves in this position of being blacklisted or continuing on a grey list.